YouTube, we're back. This is going to be the second section of the first form. So this is part 2 of the Sil Lim Tao. We have 3 parts. First section, second section, and third section. In the first section, what we talked about was setting up your stance, sinking, opening your stance, and then forming that tripod. So my hips are going down, forming a tripod. First section was all about breathing in, storing internal energy. You're starting your belt feed of ammunition. It's going to come up from the ground, through your spine, out your shoulders, and then out your barrels of your gun. Okay. So the first section, you learn about forwarding energy, and that's why we do the Fuchsau section 3 times, so that we can understand that forwarding energy negates incoming energy to the outside gate and inside gate. Elbow position being down, center line awareness. Okay, there's a ton of stuff that the first section teaches you. Forwarding energy as you're coming backwards. So in the Wu Sao section, where we're all the way down, Tan Sao, Yun Sao, forward, I project that energy forward. Then as I pull my elbow back, I'm still projecting this energy back, forward. And then we did it 2 different ways. So as I come down, forwarding energy, I leave this forward, and I bring this Wu Sao back, but I'm still not collapsing it. I'm not just drawing it back. I'm leaving energy out as I'm coming back. So these are all things that you have to discover in the first form. And then whatever else you feel in the first form. Shoulders down. I told you I keep my shoulders forward. So if you haven't seen the first video, go back to the first section, first form. We've stored that internal energy. Okay, now again, there's a ton of different things that you're going to see in the second section. And it's a relatively simple section. Okay, I finished in my last Pak Sao, return to center line, palm strike, Tan Sao, Yun Sao, chamber. Now I have the second section. Second section, I'm going to open up my hand, Gum Sao down left, right. Both hands come up in the small of my back, press down back. Come up on my sides, down and forward. Come up in a double Lan Sao, left over right. I was taught that your hands don't touch. Okay, so it's going to be my fingertips to the edge of my elbows. It's the I Dream a Genie pose. Okay, from here then, I'm going to pull my elbows back first, then fire. My pisiform bones are going to be the weapons here, the Fuchsau. Then I point my fingers backwards. Now this is the intent, the weapon. Come back in to double Lan Sao, right over left. Bring elbows in, double Jump Sao. We go to Tan, Yun Sao, Jut Sao, Bilji, Long Bridge, Tai Sao, Tan Sao, Yun, grab, chamber. From the side view, the second section to me is all about understanding the stance, staying rooted, and then getting that energy out. I'm focusing on only 2 things, elbow and hips. That's it. What we were talking about in class today has something that's a little bit relative to this. One of our new students was talking about the fact that on a punch that he threw, as that punch came in, I just was able to let his energy continue in and go forward. That stance is going to teach us counterbalance. So when we're in our Yiji Kim Young Ma stance and that tripod effect is going down and you throw your punch, you can throw your punch with all intent, and the counterbalance of your rooted stance keeps you from going forward. So we see that in the second section. I stored up all that internal energy. First section, I breathed it. I was borderline meditating. I was feeling my stance. I was drawing that energy up from the earth. Now I got to get rid of it out of my body. Gum Sao. What I do is all my intent is in my elbows, based on the relationship with my hips. Down. I open up and I fire it down and turn it off immediately. So it's not pressed down. It is down and then off. I turn off my whole core. Then I relax. Down, off. Turn off my whole core. Small my back. Down, off. Bring it up to my sides. Down, off. Double Lan Sao. Off. 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 Turn everything on and then off. On and off. on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, yun, chamber. So part of it when I'm winding up doing the second section is I'm focusing on this, getting that energy out. It's like every movement's a whipping movement. I'm just trying to get it out, getting it out, getting out, getting all this movement out. Even if I did it sloppy, the goal is to get this movement out and keep my core rooted. So that's one part that I'm paying attention to when I'm doing it. Second section is I'm paying attention to all the small little things that my elbows are telling me. It's telling me that in this section here, I mean, you see the position. I've got a collapsed angle. This is like a less than 90-degree angle. So when we punch, we try not to pivot. And I'll say this for the sake of the videos that I've seen, and no disrespect, but sometimes I've seen Ip Chun punch a pivoting motion on his elbow. I'm not going to argue with Ip Chun, but what I'm saying is, what I disagree with, I think that elbow from this should be fired forward from any position. So if I'm here, I'm focusing on my elbow, bringing it back on track, opening up this hand, and then firing it down, down. I fire my elbows down. They're here, I'm firing it down. Okay? So I'm, number one, my elbow position. Number two, I'm looking at what the elbows are telling me. There's a very cool idea when we come up to the double lan sao, fak sao, back into lan sao. This part here, I love this when you look at what this tells you off the bat. When we go from double lan sao in, then the jump sao, okay, what we're looking at is, that's a concept in itself. Now my brother Clint Cloys put up a video on the transition from this to this, so go to his channel, Indianapolis Wing Chun. But what it tells me is, this tells me that the concept of elbows are flared out, elbows are flared out. When your elbows are flared out, get them in right away. Get them in right away. It's one of the coolest concepts that we learn right there. And then fire something forward. So if I'm fighting, if I'm in a position where my elbows are out, get them in and fire it. Get the elbows in and fire it. Okay, if I'm elbow out, get them in and firing it. When your elbows are flared out, no matter where they are, get them in, fire them. If somebody pocks you, your elbows are down. If you feel pressure, get in and fire it. It's one of the coolest concepts I found in the forum from there. What you will see me do too is, I'm not static as far as not moving. It's my arms only. I rise and sink a little bit when I wind up doing my form for the sake of getting that yuma, working on it. Yuma is not just shifting side to side. It is rising and sinking and shifting inside and then putting them together. Why can't you train them that way in the first form? So you'll see after I come here, 1, 2, stationary, 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 you'll see me rise up. And then I load and fak sao. And then I come in with my double lan sao, sinking. I sink in. And you could picture a punch coming in, and we'll show these applications, sinking in and firing another punch. So I sink in, elbows in, jump. From this position, all I'm paying attention to is my elbows. I'm thinking, not thinking jut with my hand, thinking my elbows are here, pulling my elbows back in, pulling them in. Then they're loaded. Okay, this is where energy fires up again. Load, shoot to the eyes. Keeping my arms straight is your double lap sao movement. I'm just coming down, bringing my elbows down. That's all I'm doing. Fingertips down, elbows up. Then I relax the tan sao, let everything sink back in. I'm bringing the core back in. It's like a crunch. I'm bringing it right back in. Tan, yun, chamber. There's a lot going on in the second section of the form. This is going to be a very brief video. But what I pay attention for the most part is the first section got me loaded up with that energy. Now I got to get that energy out of my body without shaking my core, moving it, but using that yuma, rising and sinking, and that elbow energy at the same time. So I'm paying attention to my spine, my hips, getting that energy out, and trying not to move all over the place. Rising and sinking, in my opinion, is a little bit valid. So second section, if I broke everything down, I love the second section the best because it allows me to force completely focused on my core, get that energy out. It is completely like just a whip. The sonic boom that comes at the tail end of the whip, that's generated at the handle. You're the handle. Okay, from here, from the chest down, That's your focus on your counterbalance, and you're learning that from the first section. Root it down, get that down. Adductors, hip flexors, quads, glutes, hamstrings, root it down. Getting this energy out, getting it out, turning it on and off. It's another concept you learn. You learn that when you fire a punch, once contact is made, you have to turn it off, and we've talked about that in other videos. Same thing. So explore what the second section is to you. For me, it's about getting that power out of your body now that you stored it, but keeping balance at the same time. So that when it does come time to punch, you don't punch and lose your balance. You punch, you're rooted right away to go to the next punch, to the next hit, next hit, next hit, whatever you're doing. This is keeping you rooted, but still mobile at the same time. So that's the balance you have to find in the Wing Chun footwork, to where we're not bouncing all over the place, but we're not static robots either. So second section of the first form is understanding the relationship between power development of your tools, your weapons, your elbows, getting it out, and your rest of your core. Okay, real short video on this one. That's it. Third section we're going to cover next week. But again, leave your comments. Tell me what you've discovered in the first section. And after you find this, what do you find that this second section means to you? All right? That's all we got. See you on the next video.